And how awesome is that? So this is full solar powered aquaponics. There are fish in there. There is nitrates, there is phosphates. It is feeding all these strawberry plants. In this video, I'm going to show you how I did it. And welcome back to the excitement that is me growing stuff in pots. Hoorah. That is the perfect place for some aquaponics. There's the aqua. We're going to put the ponics there. Let's get started. And now that looks a little bit better, doesn't it, Benji? Now we're going to paint that. See, now that is so much better. We have paint. Now we're going to put some shelving-y stuff there, and then we're going to go to the hardware store and get a whole lot of pipes and stuff. So as Benji has pointed out, my stand is a little bit crooked. So I do need a lean, because we're going to pump the water up. It's going to go down. Well, it was going to go down, and then in there. But I think now I'm going to have to prop up this whole stand because the whole thing's on a lean down there. Yeah, so we're going to put some wood under there, lift that up, and then I think my shelf is kind of bent, so I might have to cut a piece of wood and stick it under there. We're going to do that now. And I'm just stopping for a second to say this is a huge grasshopper. Yeah, great. So because I'm lazy, I've just moved that stuff up to that shelf. But now I'm thinking I'll have the water pumping up there. It'll go down like that, into another pipe, down there, and then back in there. So I can just prop it up with some random bits of wood. I have moved that under there. I have managed to get paint on myself. Not that you can notice, but yeah. We're going to go to the shop thing and get a whole lot of stuff. Oh look, I've got a whole lot of pipes and stuff. So the whole idea is these, which are a PVC downpipe, and I've seen these in other videos being used. You drill holes in that, and the water flows from your pond or your pool in through here. The roots from the plants absorb the nutrients, which is the nitrates and the phosphates, and the water goes back in. The only problem is these are downpipes. They have a square bit to them, and there's no end caps, which is a pain. I've seen people 3D print them, but I chucked my 3D printer in the bin because it was rubbish. I did find these though. So they're an end cap like that connects to a pipe. So I'm going to use these and then some bendy bits. So elbows. So one of those, bit of pipe, one of those. So it goes from one to the next and then back into the pond. I did find one of those, which I can adapt to 50mm piping. And then hopefully I can adapt the 50mm piping to smaller piping and have that go back in. I did pick up a couple of power heads, so I'm not too sure what size I want to use. It depends on the head height, which is how high it needs to pump up. So that is a 1200 litre an hour, but it's got an adjustable knobby bit to it. That is a 600 litre an hour, which is about half the size, obviously. And it doesn't come with a knobby bit, so I brought a knobby bit. Let's see if we can kind of assemble this so it kind of works. Drill some holes, hook it up, and then we have unlimited strawberries, all going well. Let me drill holes and stuff and come back. So I feel like I should add that I really don't know what I'm doing, but it doesn't look too hard. So I just used a drill with a hole thingy to cut some holes out. I did have these pots already. I don't know if they're big enough, but really all they are going to do is just hold the strawberry plants in place. I'll probably put some perlite or something like that in these just to hold it. And they, oh, look at that, it does fit. Yeah, they're just going to slot in like that. There's two pots there. And then, oh, there's a couple of mils at the bottom. That is great. That is pretty much the whole idea. So we're going to put our end pipes on, going to stick it over there, see if it all fits. I have not measured any of this, but that looks like it's going to fit there. Let's hope it does. If it doesn't, I can probably just cut a little bit off the end. We're going to move these there now. So the fun thing about being in Australia is you hear noises while you're doing stuff. And you wonder what it is. And lo and behold, it's a blue-tongued skink. At least it's not a brown snake. We're almost completed this. And I just realized how hot it is. All my plants are starting to melt again. It's like 34 degrees or so at the moment. Yeah, it's getting pretty hot. That's Celsius, so that's like multiple Fahrenheits. Yeah, I have managed to rig this up. So I've propped up my stand, as you saw before. I've propped up all this. I've even screwed it in place so it kind of fits. I've even used a dodgy screw to just keep it in line. But this is where we are. So we're going to pump water from our pond up to the top there. If we prop up a little bit, we have all our pots in line. Then we have our adaptery thing there. We have our elbow, we have a pipe. Now this is where it gets really interesting. I didn't have the proper elbows, so this pipe wouldn't connect to that elbow. So I needed one that joined two bits together. So I just bit a dodgy Coke bottle there. It works fine. Well, hopefully it will work fine. So the water's just going to trickle down, go into here, trickle along here, and then it's going to go through that 50mm pipe back into the pond. I may need to do something with that. I probably need to move these plants out because these plants are going to feed off the same nutrients as what my strawberry plants are going to feed off. But saying that, there is so much algae in here that it's showing that there's excess nutrients. So, and I can always feed the fish a little bit more. That's going to oxygenate the water. Now, instead of using the pump that I was going to use, or one of the two pumps, and if we stand up here, you can see it from above, I have rigged up an old solar pump. There's the solar panel. Now, my reasoning with the solar pump is that obviously it's going to work during the daytime, then it's not going to work at night. But if I level these up, and I don't even have a level, I'm just going to play it by ear. If I level these up, there should be enough water left in the bottom, so when the pump doesn't work overnight, the plants are not going to dry out. And then when the pump turns back on in the daytime, the water's going to pump through and just refresh the system. So I think we're only going to have a couple of mils, hopefully, of water all along here. It's going to go through, then a couple of mils of water all through there, through my elbow, back into the pond. All going well. This is going to work, I hope. So I've got a simple little pipe adapter there. I think I'm just going to zip tie that in place so it doesn't get pushed out or anything happens like that. I've got my gutter sort of screwed with a bit of wood behind it, so it should be okay. I have glued so much of that stuff there that it shouldn't leak, all going well. So what we're going to do now is put our pump in our pond. It should work straight away because it's a solar pump. I probably need a little spongy thing over that, but oh, and it works. Okay. Oh. Well, that's good so far. Oh. So far, I don't think we've got any leaks. If we do get leaks, it's probably going to happen. Well, it's not going to happen at night because the pump's going to turn off. So that's good. Okay, now what I am not entirely sure about is how much water we've got. Oh, we can see water in there. That might be moving too fast, maybe. Oh. Does it matter how fast the water's moving? I wouldn't think it was. I mean, the faster the water's moving, the more oxygen it's going to have, and you do need oxygen for the roots. And because it's so warm here, I think this water's about 27 degrees at the moment. Obviously, it's not going to be 27 degrees in winter. Oh, that's working as well. I can't believe that's worked the first time. We might have a little leak. Nothing we can't fix. Well, there you go. That is my first aquaponics system. Now, what I'm not too sure about is whether there's going to be too much sun here. So what I can do is put some shade cloth on the top bit, maybe like 50% shade cloth or something, because obviously it's less sun on the underneath, less sun on the second level. I'm pretty sure that's enough flow that I could have another 2 of these as well. Just one at the back, one there. Just have a splitter going there. If anyone's clue of aquaponics, is there any sort of amount of water flow you should have? That's 1700 litres and that's only about a metre lift. So that's probably what, 1000 litres going through there? Seems like a bit of water, maybe too much. Anyway, I'm going to get my strawberry plants, I'm going to put them in some perlite and I'm going to stick them in. Or actually maybe I should shade cloth first. I think I'm going to shade cloth because they're going to melt in full sun. That is pretty hot. We're going to shade cloth and come back. So I've definitely underestimated how many strawberry plants I needed for this system. Obviously this system has grown as I've been fiddling with it, and originally it was just going to be one little bit to see how it goes. But then one little bit is turned into 2 levels. It may turn into 4 levels soon. Well, 2 on each level. So 4 things on 2 levels? I don't know. But this is where we are. It is working well. This is a few hours later. I have moved all the other strawberries I have closer to these ones so they can all be their strawberry corner friends. Working really, really well. So my shade cloth is obviously put up. So that is 50% shade cloth, and I can roll the whole thing down as well. Only reason for that is I think, you know, when we get grasshoppers and stuff, as you saw in the video before, they tend to wipe out plants. So I can always put that down when I'm not here. They can still get airflow. Flow will come through the fence and through the sides, but it's less likely things are going to fly in and just wipe out a whole strawberry plant while I'm not here. Hopefully, maybe. But shade cloth is working well. It is still super, super hot. I think it's like 35 degrees Celsius, so that's lots of Fahrenheits again. Have no leaks. So I thought there was a couple of leaks, but all looks good now. Even our dodgy bottle thing. I could have probably like welded it to that, yeah, with that plastic stuff, but I didn't want it fully permanent, so I could adapt it and, you know, all that sort of stuff. So it is working perfectly fine. My little pots, I have a really coarse perlite in there. That is nice and wet, so it is working. There's not a heap of water in each of these, so if I take one of these out, and it's still a little bit hard to take out, you can see just the water on the bottom. And I think it's only coming up to that like one little hole in the bottom there. So enough for the roots to get into there. Roots should have enough oxygen. As I said, at night, the solar pump is going to turn off. There's going to be a little film of water in both of these. So if the plants take up that water, they're not going to die with no water overnight. Well, they're not going to use all that water up. The next morning, the solar is going to kick in again, and that's going to pump water through the system and replenish that. So it's like a reverse float valve, I suppose. That's really confusing, isn't it? But instead of just nutrients in a reservoir, we have our fish in here producing ammonia, nitrites. Well, the bacteria is eating the ammonia to nitrites and the nitrites to nitrates. So if I find that these are sucking too much nutrients out of the water and there's no nitrites or phosphates present, I'm going to have to add filtration and feed the fish more, so we've got more ammonia produced, and that will uptake the plant's fertilizer pretty much. But so far so good. It's only been a few hours. They should be fine there. I might create a little catch thing so I can hook the shade cloth down so in a storm they don't get blown around. But everything is all in place. They're all screwed in. Very, very easy way of doing it. So I think this whole thing cost me maybe $80 in pipes and stuff like that. I had the solar pump. I think solar pumps are around $200-300 for something like that. I can get them in, so if you know me through the shop, ask me and I can find a price for you. But working really, really well. That is the first solar pump that I've used as well, because obviously for fish you want them on 24 hours a day, but this is not really for the fish. This is just going to oxygenate the water during the daytime, and it's going to sort out these plants. But yes, There we go, my first aquaponics system. I am super keen to do this on a bigger scale around the other side where all my turtle ponds are. There is an unlimited amount of phosphates and nitrites that those little buggers produce, and that is going to feed a lot of plants. So I think I'll have to just do a big shade house area, hopefully all going well, on my 1 day off. But I managed to get this all rigged up in about 2 hours, and that is only really not really knowing what I'm doing, but it seems to work. It seems I can't really see any issues with it. Power goes off, it still has water. Power comes back on. Well, the solar is power. That's just weird, isn't it? I may have to move some of these plants out though, because they are going to compete with my strawberries, but I'll just keep checking the nitrite and phosphate levels. Once they start going too low, I might take these plants out, so then all the nutrients goes to these plants and I can just move them to another pond. That is where we are. Caladiums are going well, apart from someone eating my caladium. Bastards. If you did enjoy this video, click the thumbs up so I know. Super keen to do this on a bigger scale now. But how's that? That is solar powered aquaponics. So much fun. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Watch some other videos and we will see you in the next one.